Why, hello there. Hi, friends. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate you being here. I hope you like the new intro. Um, I made that today and added it to the stream and everything. Got an outro video too. Changed up some of the graphics, added a banner. I also have the ability now to put comments up at the screen if I want to, up here in the bottom right hand corner. So if you're watching and you want to comment, I should probably put comments there so I can see them. Oops. I closed them. So how are you? How was your Tuesday? I hope it was fun. I will admit that today's stream is not going to be very long because I am so tired and I've already had a shower and I've gotten into my pajamas. Oh, still coughing. That way I can just watch the rest of the ball game after I'm done this and I can go to bed. Right now, the Jays are up 2-1, which is good because we need to win this game. I don't know if you're watching the World Series, but I'm a big Blue Jays fan, have been since I was a teenager. And the game last night, let me tell you, game 3 was a nail biter. It really was. They went 18 innings. LA did end up winning. They won 6-5. But just the stuff that happened, like it was such an exciting game. I'm proud of our boys for some of the plays that they made. They were amazing. Yeah, they lost in the end, but it was a really entertaining game. I haven't seen a baseball game that exciting in a really long time. So tonight they're up 2-1. Let's hope that they can hold that lead because we really need to win this game tonight to tie up the series. To make sure that we're not. It's hard to come back from a 3-1 lead in the series. So let's cross our fingers that they do it and they win, and then we go on to game 5 tomorrow. Now, about the stream tomorrow, I am going to Bible study tomorrow night. At least that's the plan. So I usually don't get home from Bible study till about 9:30. So it is going to be probably a late stream like this one. Excuse me. So I'll see you then. But tonight's topic that we're going to talk about is what's going on with AOC and Riley Gaines. Now, I'm going to be upfront and honest. I had no idea who Riley Gaines was. Not a clue. She's listed as and an activist. Um, she's a mom. She is a swimmer, a pro swimmer. I was gonna actually see if I can pull up a Wikipedia just to kind of like just to get some like general background on who she is. I know she's a Republican. I know she's not a fan of trans athletes. I know part of her activism is talking about um, how she doesn't believe that trans women belong in women's sports, especially pro sports. So, I didn't put in her last name. That would be helpful, wouldn't it? There we go. All right. Let's take a look at this lady. I'm going to, might as well share my screen so you guys can see what I'm seeing. Boop. Share. And can I put myself down in the corner there? Yeah, I can. That's cool. That's better. That works for me. Okay. So Riley Marie Gaines Barker, 2000, so she's fairly young, is an American conservative political activist and former collegiate swimmer known for campaigning against the participation of trans women in women's sports. I mean, there's a lot of people that do that. You know what? I was curious. How many pro how many let's go how many trans athletes are there in pro sports in the USA? Okay. Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay. So trans women in sports, facts over fear. So let's just look at some numbers here. So just in general, with the population of the United States, only 1% or approximately 1% of the population is trans. Um, there have already been over 745 anti-trans bills introduced in state legislatures across the country in 2025 alone. That is sad. That's really sad. Um, so trans people are estimated to make up 1 to 2% of the population of the United States. So remember, that's like 333 million people. Trans people make up less than 0.002% of college athletes. So there's 10 trans athletes for every 500,000 cis athletes. And even fewer of recent Olympians, 0.001%, identify as trans in the Olympics. So when we're talking about the issue of trans athletes in pro sports, the number of actual trans athletes is very, very small. So there's a lot of people like Riley Gaines making a very big stink about a very, very small number of people. They make it sound like trans women are going to come in and take over women's sports completely, and that's just not happening. I mean, if you just look at the numbers of how many people there are that are trans in pro sports, numbers very tiny. Okay, so she's a 12-time NCAA All-American. She competed for the Kentucky Wildcats swim team in the Southeastern Conference before graduating and focusing on political activism. Um, she's got a podcast on Fox Nation on Outkick called Gains for Girls. Okay, so just a bit of a background here. She was born and raised in Nashville, Tennessee. Her parents were active in sports. Her dad played football at Vanderbilt University. Her mother played softball at Donaldson Christian Academy. Okay, Austin P State University. She attended Station Camp High School in Tennessee. In high school, she won the 100-yard butterfly and the 100-yard freestyle. And the TISCA High School Swim and Dive Championship in Knoxville in 2017. Um, she She was invited to a 2016 United States Olympic Trials event, but failed to qualify after placing 85th. So she's a pro athlete, but in comparison to the competition, um, not that, not an eye opener, basically, after placing 85th. So, to me, that sounds like it would be average. She joined the University of Kentucky's swim team, made the All SEC freshman team in 2019. She made the second team in 2019-2020. She participated in the 2021 NCAA Women's Swimming and Diving Championships, coming seventh in the 200 freestyle race and winning a silver medal in the 4x200 yard freestyle relay. And she made the All Sec first team that year. I apologize. My cough is still it's getting better. I'm coughing a lot less, but the more I talk, the more I cough. So it's still going to be a little bit. Okay. Her highest ranking individual event finished nastily was fifth place in the NCAA WD1 Championship 200 yards freestyle final in March 2022. She did not pursue a professional career after graduating from college in 2022. Oh, okay. This is some relevant information that I was not aware of. In March of 2022, while swimming in the University of Kentucky in the 200-yard freestyle at the NCAA Championship, her final competitive event race, she tied for fifth place with the University of Pennsylvania swimmer Leah Thomas, who subsequently became the first openly trans woman champion in the NCAA women's division after winning the 500-yard freestyle later at the same meet. While Thomas held the fifth place trophy after the finish, Gaines held an equally sized sixth place trophy while waiting for another fifth place trophy in the mail. Immediately after the meet, she said in an interview with the Daily Wire, "I'm in full support of her and full support of her transition in her swimming career because there's no doubt that she works hard too, but she's just abiding by the rules that the NCAA put in place, and that's the issue." Okay, well, that's decent. At least she wasn't an asshole to her and, used her proper pronouns and stuff and was respectful that way. Kudos to her for that. In 2023, Green said that Thomas shared locker room space with her while still possessing male genitalia. This incident began her activism. Okay. I mean, it doesn't say anything about whether that's true or not, just that's what triggered her activism, I suppose. Okay. Okay, so this is where we get into the activism in politics. Gaines has advocated against the inclusion of transgender women in the women's division of sports, including by lobbying her state representatives in April 2022 to pass a law that would prohibit transgender women from participating in women's sports. Now, a lot of people that advocate for banning trans women from women's sports talk about how there's an unfair advantage there, and that trans women have the ability to beat out all the women. But if we go back up earlier in the article, even though Leah Thomas placed first in the 500-yard freestyle, she placed fifth. So she competed and finished the same as Riley Gaines did. So if there was this unfair advantage, then why didn't Leah Thomas come first in this race too? Or could it be that the fact that trans women are not holding an unfair advantage? Because otherwise, she would have come in first place, but she didn't. She placed the same as Riley. Okay, by January 2023, Gaines had participated in a small protest at the NCAA convention, appeared in campaign advertisements for former U.S. Senate candidate for the Republican Party, Herschel Walker, and spoke at a Donald Trump rally. Ew. So, she's MAGA. Yay. Like I didn't already know that. She was invited to be a speaker at a Texas Senate committee in support of legislation that would categorically prohibit transgender college athletes from competing in sports divisions that align with their gender identity. Again, so we're talking about banning what? A handful of people? Not even? Because those handful of people are apparently a serious threat. Gaines visited San Francisco State University for the student chapter event of the conservative political organization Turning Point USA. Ew, gross. I just posted on my YouTube. Hang on, let me pull up my YouTube and I will read you what my post said. Um, Someone posted this on X today. Wow, Turning Point USA is considering canceling their Super Bowl halftime show due to lack of interest and being unable to obtain a right wing star large enough to draw a crowd. Which is hilarious because obviously they don't have a huge amount of headliners to pick from that people would be willing to see. And I mean, you got to think about it. They're probably charging outrageous prices for tickets. And I mean, just in today's economy, who can afford that? Okay. Oops. Stuff. Yeah, I keep clicking on blue stuff. Um, in April, she visited San Francisco State University for the state student chapter. Okay, we read that already. After the event concluded, protesters arrived. Gaines was escorted by law enforcement officers to shelter in a classroom where she stayed for 3 hours while protesters continued to demonstrate outside. What? Why? What was she afraid of? People were protesting against her. People protest all the time. There's nothing to be afraid of. After the event, Gaines said that she had been physically struck twice by a person during the protest. Was anybody arrested? She endorsed Ron DeSantis. Ew, gross. He's worse than Trump. In June, she appeared as a witness at a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing focused on safeguarding civil rights for LGBTQ Americans, and according to C-SPAN, shared her own personal experience competing with trans swimmer Leah Thomas on having to share the same dressing room. So I'm wondering, she initially supported Leah Thomas. I am in full support of her and full support of her transition and her swimming career because there's no doubt that she works hard too. But she's just abiding by the rules that the NCAA put in place. So, I mean, then turn around and be like, she needs to be banned. Hmm. Let's see. She accompanied Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt as he signed an executive order representing independent women's voice, which had developed model legislation the Oklahoma bill was based on. The executive order included a variety of provisions, including a prohibition on transgender women and girls using bathrooms and locker rooms designated for women, a direction to state, it's mind boggling that Republicans are so obsessed with the bathroom. They're so obsessed with the bathroom and what other people do in the bathroom. And the truth is that you have probably used a public bathroom with a trans woman multiple times and didn't even know it. Were you harmed? Did you notice? Did your life change in any way because somebody was in there peeing that may have been trans and you didn't know it? No. And the thing is, this always gets me. We have to protect girls in the bathroom. Okay. I would rather my daughter be in the bathroom with a trans woman than be in there with a man. And there's a vast difference between a trans woman and a man. Because if a man wants to harm a woman in a bathroom, he's just going to walk in that bathroom. He doesn't have to go through any type of transition to be able to do that. If he wants to do it, he's going to walk in that bathroom and he's going to hurt whoever he's going to hurt. And he's going to get a slap on the wrist for it. You know how I know that? Because I have a relative who did that. I'm not proud of that. It happened like 30 years ago and he did jail time for it. But if a man wants to assault a woman in the bathroom, he's gonna do it. He's gonna do it. And it's gonna be hard to stop him. He doesn't have to dress up as a woman and try to pass as a trans woman in order to hurt women. He's just gonna do it. And it's like people don't seem to realize that. And like I have met drag queens. I have met trans people. I love them. I think they're wonderful. Is there bad apples in the group? Yes, absolutely. But there's bad apples in every single group, right? But statistically, my child is going to be safer with a trans woman or a drag queen versus some strange man. That's just the truth of it. Okay. Where were we here? Okay, so the executive order includes a variety of provisions, including a prohibition on transgender women and girls using bathrooms and locker rooms designated for women, direction to state agencies to use sex assigned at birth to define male and female, as well as definitions for the terms as man and woman. So not only are we trying to ban them from sports, but they're also trying to um, prevent them from identifying their gender. And, like, I mean, this is an argument that we have had a million times over that sex and biological sex and gender are 2 different things. One's biological and one is social. But you can sit here and you can explain this to these people till you're blue in the face and they just don't give a shit. They feel how they feel, and that's all that matters to them. They hate trans people, both trans women and trans men, and you're just not gonna change their mind because there's so much hate in their hearts for the people that they don't like. There's just no reasoning with them. In November of 2023, she confirmed working with FIDE to prevent transgender women from playing in women's chess. What? Why? What unfair advantage could a transgender woman have over a cis woman in chess? Chess, there's nothing physical. Huh, that's stupid. This prompted criticism from Pink News for claiming that trans women had an advantage at chess. Oh, what? Oh my goodness. That's hilarious. Not true, but hilarious that they think that, and very sad. She also testified to the Ohio State Government Oversight Committee about her experiences competed with Thomas and on preventing trans women from competing in female sports in Ohio. The House would go on to pass Bill 68 that would prevent trans athletes from participating in Ohio women's sports and would block doctors from providing gender affirming care to trans youth. Of course. We want to step in and dictate the medical care of children. We want to take that away from parents and tell them what they can and can't do because that's what a government should do. A government belongs in your doctor's office telling you what you should and shouldn't do, which is ridiculous. Um, okay. So this is just a present. Let's see. I don't think she's a Christian and has stated that her faith has shaped her activism. You mean hate? She married University of Kentucky swimmer Louis Barker after dating for 3 years. They had their daughter was born in October of 2025. So just very recently they had a kid. So that explains some of the tweets that I saw today. Let me see if I can pull up X from here without displaying my oh, it's gonna make me sign up here. But I don't want to sign up. I already have an account on my phone. I just want to look at shit. Um, I don't. Will this will this take me? Hmm. No. Okay. Cool. Cool beans. All right. I'm not going to display this because I don't want a certain someone looking at it because she needs to know where I am all the time. So we're just gonna go to my profile and we're gonna read some of the tweets that I posted so that I can remember. What's funny is I saw a tweet today that said um, that Riley Gaines, the only reason why that she's famous is because of trans women. So she should be thanking trans women because without her activism and, trying to speak out against trans women, nobody would know who she is or give a shit about her. You won 5th place in a big race. Woohoo! Not very memorable. So she owes her fame and notoriety to trans women. How ironic. Okay, that's about Snap. And that's about ice. Um, this was interesting. I don't know how true this is. Um, I don't want to ask Rock, but let's see. Uh, is Riley Gaines's husband a U.S.? Oh, look at huh. It says that he's born and raised in the U.S. So this is interesting. So AI, what was posted on X says that her husband is British and doesn't have a green card. He owns a construction company in Tennessee. But then when we flip over, it says Google says that he's born and raised in the US. Now, Google is not going to tell us any type of opinion. It's just going to kind of summarize the information that's online. But then here on X, let's see. Huh. So this she posted on March 19th of 2025 saying that her husband is a US green card holder and passed this US citizenship test easily. Meanwhile, only 30% of Americans do. Now, a little fun fact about me is I'm an immigrant. I have legally been in the US since 2022. I am a green card holder. I've had my green card since the beginning of 2023. If you weren't aware of the process, when you are granted a visa, well, I'm talking about my specific visa. On my spousal visa, once I was approved and awarded my visa, I came to the US. And I had to remain in the US for a certain amount of time before I could go get my green card. When I went to go apply for my green card, I had to have a background check done again. I had to be fingerprinted, take my photo, fill out a questionnaire. So I had to give them where I was living in the US, yada, yada, yada. I couldn't have a job until this was all done. So, I mean, extra security is done when you're applying for a green card. But I did get awarded my green card of at the end of January 2023, and then I almost immediately got a job. So I have been practicing my U.S. citizenship test because I now that I have been living in the country for 3 years, I now qualify to go through the naturalization process. Means that basically means I can go and apply for my citizenship. Now, I'm have made the decision not to do that at this moment for personal reasons. But at any point, I could go and do this. So I have been, just out of curiosity, taking practice tests, and I have passed them all. Um, so basically, the civic, I don't know if they call it the civics test or the citizenship test or whatever, but there's a series of 100 questions. They give you 10 of that list, and it's going to vary um, every time you take it. But they draw 10 questions. Excuse me, my throat is dry. But they pull 10 random questions from that list of 100 to give to you. You have to answer them all. And then you have to get, I believe it is 6 or 7 out of 10 of them in order to pass and qualify for citizenship. Um, and I've been taking the practice test and I've done it a bunch of times and I've passed a bunch of times. But that's because politics is one of the things that I am very interested in. And I do a lot of research and a lot of reading. Actually, and it was really funny because in high school, I actually took um, a US history government course in my last year of high school when I was a senior. So it's something that I've been interested in basically my whole adult life. So I am very familiar with politics and civics and things like that, and how the government works. Now, am I saying that I know everything? No, because when I was a dumb teenager at 17, I thought I wanted to be a politician, and I was interested in getting into politics, Canadian politics, because I'm Canadian. I'm from Canada. Um, so I thought that to prepare to be a politician, that it would be smart to learn about other countries' politics. And my school just so happened to offer an American government history course that I took. So that's that. It was a hard course, though, by the way, I will say. Um, and that particular teacher got fired for bringing bringing alcohol and drinking alcohol in class, which was funny. Anyway, back to the post at hand. So, um, PragerU U.S. citizenship quiz sweepstakes. Oh well, I mean, I wouldn't qualify for that because I'm not a citizen and I have to practice for the test anyway. So, citizenship test failure rate at 64% proves schools teach activism, not civics. They should teach civics. They're just the amount of MAGA that don't understand how the government works, what the branches of government are. I mean, there has been so many videos of podcasters and stuff doing interviews with MAGA people at MAGA rallies, and they just have no fucking clue. No fucking clue. And it's like you're out here advocating about stuff that you don't even understand. And that just kind of boggles my mind. All right. Someone commented, "You married an illegal." Uh, well, I mean, your husband was illegal a minute ago for years. Hmm, let's find out. Was Riley Gaines's husband undocumented? In November 24, Riley Gaines stated that her husband, Louis Baker, could not get a green card because he had not received the COVID-19 vaccine, not because he was undocumented. The issue brought attention to U.S. immigration policy, and Gaines discussed it with Elon Musk. Huh. So, the detail of Louis Barker's immigration status. So, he married her in 2022. He was originally from the United Kingdom and attended the University of Kentucky, where he met Gaines as a fellow swimmer. Gaines said that although she and Barker had been married for over 2 years and she is a U.S. citizen, her husband's application for permanent residency had been denied. So he was illegal for a minute there. Hmm. So I guess if we're revoking the status of people that were here illegally, then that would mean Mr. Louis Barker here would be up for deportation because there was a legal immigrant, I believe she was a green card holder, and she was deported. Her husband was a citizen. She was deported because she had missed a court date in 2019. So 6 years ago, she got a notice to show up for court, didn't actually receive it, didn't know she had to show up for court, and obviously didn't go. And that was enough of a criminal background to be able to deport her. So, I mean, if we're looking at deporting people that, cheated the system, I think someone needs to take a look at Mr. Louis Barker because this information here makes it look like he was illegal for a hot minute. Reason for denial. According to Gaines, the denial was based on a requirement that the green card applicants receive specific vaccinations, including the COVID-19 vaccine. That is 100% true. But it is also not the only vaccine that you have to have when you're going through immigration. So, part of the immigration process is the physical. So, you have to see a doctor, you have to be physically examined, you have to provide um, your what you call it immunization background, and if you're out to date on any of your immunizations, then you have to go and get them done. Um, at the time that I did my medical for immigration, I had to go and get um my tetanus shot renewed. And let me tell you, finding a doctor's office that would just give you a tetanus shot just for the hell of it, um, very difficult. It was very difficult. But it was at the end of the pandemic, so there was like a shortage of a lot of vaccines. So the COVID vaccine is not the only requirement for coming into the US. For immigration, it is a number of vaccines that you're required to have. And I mean, that's kind of the norm because you don't want people coming into your country and bringing communicable diseases with them. That makes sense to me. I had no problem getting the vaccinations that were required to be here. But if he refused the COVID-19 vaccine and he got denied, He should have been booted. Gaines used the situation to highlight what she considered an unfair immigration policy. She and Elon Musk both called for changes to this system because, the COVID-19 denial, whatever. Um, yeah, so he couldn't get his green card. So then explain to me, if he owns a business and he couldn't get a green card, then he was breaking the law because you can't work in the US if you don't have a green card. And that includes running a business. And how do I know that? I had a friend of mine that she decided, this was like back before COVID. She decided that her and her husband were going to buy a big giant RV, and they were going to go on a tour of the US and Canada. They were going to homeschool. It sounded really exciting, and I was really happy for them. Um, and she had her own business, so she worked from home. So that gave her the ability to work while they were on the road so that they would still have an income and be able to support themselves. But she'd be able to give her kids this really great experience. Well, they came to the border to start their US tour part of their adventures for the year, and they were turned away. So Melissa wasn't going to be taking any jobs from anybody, but because she would be technically working on her computer and doing that while in the US, that was not allowed and they denied her and they actually banned her from the US. She can't come over the border right now. So the fact that he has a business and didn't have a green card as recent as last year, that sounds like he was working illegally. Again, more reason to kick him out. Why hasn't anybody? If this is all public knowledge, why aren't they doing anything? Oh, could it be because he's from the UK and he's white? I wonder. Anyway, so that's enough on Riley Gaines. I want to go back and take a look at the beef between her and AOC. So, excuse me. There was a rally in New York the other day that Bernie and AOC were at for Mamdani Zoran, who's running for New York mayor. And I guess Riley had posted a picture. Where did she go? I wanted to click on her profile, but I can't find it. Did I not? Oh, I must not have saved it. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Okay. So Riley Gaines, after that rally, had posted a picture of AOC, Mamdani, and Bernie Sanders, and they're waving to the crowd because apparently the rally was really great and exciting. And she posted, "We're being destroyed from within," because MAGA is very afraid, very, very afraid of helping people. They don't like social programs. What's hilarious is that MAGA will benefit from social programs like Social Security and SNAP and Medicare. They have no problem using the services that are there, even though they're social programs. But then they'll turn around and when other people suggest, hey, maybe we should help people by doing these things, then all of a sudden, socialism is bad and we're being destroyed from within, which is completely ridiculous, but it is what it is. Whatever. Let them scream into the void. But AOC responded to that post and said, maybe if you channeled all this anger into swimming faster, you wouldn't have come in fifth. And I was just like, that is beautiful. That is beautiful. I mean, MAGA is not nice. They aren't. But what's funny is that they dish out the insults, but then when it's turned around back on them, they have meltdowns like the little snowflakes that they are. And oh, here, I'm going to take this off the screen. Boop. There we go. They have meltdowns because They can't take being treated the way that they treat other people. Donald Trump is the perfect example of that. He posted a video of him shitting on No Kings protesters just a couple of days before this happened. And then Canada turned around and posted a snippet of Ronald Reagan's speech. Didn't even say anything mean about Trump, didn't even mention Trump, just Reagan talking about how he disagrees with tariffs and how they're detrimental to the economy in America. And Trump had a literal meltdown about it, cut off trade negotiations with Canada, and is now going to be opposing an additional 10% tariff on Canada because he can't take it. He can't take any type of criticism whatsoever because his ego is too fragile. You know, it is what it is. That is Trump in a nutshell, a big fat baby. Dementia Don. It was funny because there's posts all over X today about him taking the mocha test. And it's like it's a dementia test. And I've had to sit with clients of mine before to do the mocha test, and it's like, can you draw a clock? Can you remember these words? It's like really, really basic stuff. And apparently Trump was talking about how hard this test was and that he did an MRI and his MRI is perfect, and the doctors were talking about how perfect he was. MRI is not a test that they do routinely unless there's something wrong with you. So, if Trump if there was no suspicions about Trump's health, he wouldn't have needed an MRI, and if he had a physical 6 months ago, why are we having an additional 6 months? If he's in perfect health, then why is he still continually having all these tests done? Hmm. But anyway, so that was the hilarious beef between the two of these. Now, later on, that spiraled into that um, Riley Gaines is challenging AOC to a debate. Now, if we look at um, AOC's background, which is an engineering background, versus Riley Gaines's background academically, AOC would just wipe the floor with her. Like 1000% just wipe the floor with that kid. I mean, she's being boosted up by Mega, and thinking that maybe she's smarter than she actually is. But it's funny, and I hope that this type I mean, the debate itself would be inconsequential. There would be like it would just be f boosting egos, really. Um, and you know that there's gonna be no clear winner because Meg gonna claim that Riley won and Dems are gonna claim that AOC won. So, I mean, really at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter a whole lot, but it would be entertaining. It has a lot of entertainment value there. Let me see if I can see. I don't use the desktop version of X. I haven't in years and years. I don't even know where I can I just go explore and check out what's trending? Oh, there we go. Um, of course, Zoran is trending again because the why can't I think of the word? The election is coming up. Oh my goodness, this is how tired I am. All right. So, Riley Gaines is no different from so many other MAGA women, completely unqualified, unhinged, and full of shit. Yeah. Um, if Riley Gaines debated AOC, she'd still somehow tie for 5th place. So, I guess Riley Gaines is on Fox News, big surprise, and said she wants to challenge AOC to a debate. And AOC responded, I would like to challenge this person to get a real job. And then when AOC posted that, everybody was like, she just had a baby, blah, 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 blah. And it was like, okay, if she just had a baby, then why is she getting up and talking on Fox News and you know, all of this stuff. Because obviously it's not stopping her from her activism, but when it's challenged, all of a sudden it's, oh, poor Riley, she just had a baby. And it's like, no, that's not how that sympathy card works. It's just like when somebody who's disabled decides to bully you willingly, you know, and then as soon as you call them out on their bullying, oh, I'm disabled. You're causing me stress. Feel sorry. No, you weren't disabled enough to make fun and be a bully. So you can deal with the consequences of your actions. And pulling the disabled card is not going to get you out of those consequences. You got to put your big girl panties on and deal with it like an adult. And if you can't handle that, then how about we roll back the bullying? Anyway, so I guess AOC has been kind of trolling Riley Gaines on X, and I'm here for it because you know what? Like Dems have been far too polite and cordial to Republicans and putting up with their bullshit. So it's, you know what? It's come down to we're going to have to play their games and start, treating them the way that they treat everybody else, you know. So, and if you can't dish it or if you can't take it, don't dish it. Simple as that. And I think that's why Gavin Newsom's attempt to troll Trump made was such a big deal is because it was finally like, finally a Democrat is lowering themselves to the point to communicate with MAGA the way that Trump communicates with everybody else. And there was a whole meltdown about that. How dare he? How dare he? Why? He's just behaving the way your president does, and you cheer your president on. So why is it all of a sudden not okay for Gavin Newsom to behave the same way? Double standards. But it is what it is. So I don't know if a debate will actually ever come out of this. AOC probably has a lot more on her plate than worrying about a nobody who's challenging her to a debate who she'd probably completely spank. So I get that. There's more pressing issues out there, but a little piece of me would hope that we get some entertainment out of that. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for watching. I appreciate you being here. I have 5 viewers, so please leave a like and a comment if you like. Subscribe. I am going to be streaming every night for about 30 to 45 minutes every weeknight and talking about a different political topic. So, but I appreciate your support. I love you being here. And remember, make good choices. Have a good night, everybody.